I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.
Hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on Logic Before Authority. And no, this isn't the actual main subject of today, but it is related. It is related. This UFC fight going on has to do, somehow it has to do and is tied with the alien agenda, as well as all the agendas that are attached to that, including the assimilation agenda, where these people took the free needles, and that the way that it's being depicted is that they are being set up to be assimilated, okay? And basically loss of free will and control. Now, like I've said before, our Father in heaven is all powerful. So if you took it, go to him. Don't shoot the messenger. What we're going to talk about today, though, is kind of back on this subject that we've been talking about. And what I did is I took a look at, according to the details with those out of Star Trek. Okay, let me show you for new people why I'm referring to that. The Borg out of Star Trek. Pulling something up that I should have already had pulled up. But you'll see why in a second. Okay, it has to do with this. The Borg symbolism inside of Operation Warp Speed, which is a Star Trek mention, of course. And you have the Borg cube with three either sevens or L's on there, which I'm gonna explain that to you in an upcoming video. But what I did was I looked at the Star Trek lore and all of its information that's out there as to how exactly, what methods did they use to assimilate someone. Now, of course, we know that they injected them with a free needle. They depicted it in the Star Trek series as through the neck, which I've shown in previous videos, and they also showed it that there was a weapon that they were going to send down to the Earth, and it was just a bunch of hypodermic needles. And I show that in previous videos, but I can't show everything every time, although I am going to do a complete refresher, probably hour to 2 hour video coming soon to explain it all again. Okay, so you've got to look at the cortical node, okay? A biosynthetic interface embedded within the brain's cortical region acts as a central processor and router between biological and neural activity and Borg systems, coordinates sensory input, motor functions, and cognitive processes, maintains and regulates the link between the collective. If the cortical node fails, the drone experiences system collapse and life-threatening failure, like heart attacks. Have we seen any, and I'm not saying this is what it is, but have we seen anybody that in the last 4 or 5 years that has just unexpectedly very healthy and just dropped dead? Is that what this is? I'm not saying it is. Makes me wonder. Now, we're going to look at the cortical node and all of these individually as we move forward here. But I'm starting out just going over them. Neural transceiver. You know, a transmitter receiver or transceiver that makes a connection. Well, let me just read what I got here. Direct interface with the nervous system, connects to major neural pathways, spinal cord, and peripheral nerves. Bidirectional data exchange, thoughts, commands, sensory data, and status. Enables the drone, meaning the assimilated person, to experience the collective as a shared consciousness. They are of one mind, as the Bible says. They'll give themselves up to the beast, which will be of one mind, which the Bible says. Allows the collective to perceive through the drone. Subspace transceiver. Provides faster than light communication through subspace. Maintains continuous link with the collective across any device. Sends and receives data, commands, and system updates. Uses subspace frequencies for not limited by normal space and electromagnetic spectrum. Keeps the drone synchronized with the Borg Hive network. Over here, nanoprobes. Microscopic self-replicating machines that initiate and maintain assimilation, injected into the bloodstream, rewrite cellular structure, and Borgify tissues. Means that, we're talking about the altering of the DNA and the systems within the body. Build and maintain cybernetic systems from within. Self-assimilating nano and that type of stuff. We heard anything about that kind of stuff going on? Yes, we have. Interface with the nervous system and implant all necessary communication hardware. Continuously repair and upgrade components. Connection to the collective. All signals flow into the Borg collective via subspace channels. Every drone is a node in a vast decentralized neural network. So they are a node on the network. I remember saying 10 years ago, this is exactly what they were trying to do to us. Create it and make us all a node on the network. Now, to give you a little context on these things, the cortical node is something that's got to be, you've got to get it into the body, okay? The neural transceiver, you've got to get it into the body, okay? The nanoprobes, you've got to get them into the body, okay? In order for it to be able to do all these things, okay? Now, let's look at how they're doing this. Now, we already know about the free needles, and that will explain like the nanoprobes and the neural transceiver. But how are they getting something up into the, actually this little dot right here is a little high. It should be down lower and to the left slightly, about where my mouse is at, okay? How are they going to get something into the forehead? Well, some of us already know. And we're gonna go into that here in just a second. But real quick, I did want to mention this. I had mentioned about a Rolex and mentioned about it having a crystal in it. And one of y'all guys were very nice and sent me some information about it. And I was referring to a specific Rolex. I wasn't referring to really the real modern ones. I was referring to the Rolex Oyster quartz, okay, that has a crystal in it, a quartz crystal in it, and the crystal's piezoelectric properties force it to vibrate at exactly 32,768 times per second. So just stepping back and letting you know that I didn't just pluck that out of nowhere, as to when I was talking about the crystals and stuff, which we're still on that subject down here a little further. Okay. Something else I'm going to be going into here soon, and it is actually related. The knowledge, anyway, was gained from the trees, but this is something that's very interesting as well. And if you want to read it, you can pause it and read some of it. So I'm kind of giving you an opportunity to do that by doing this. Okay. But that's going to be for another video. And this is another little quick image, and then we're moving back on to what I was talking about. This is about, remember how we always heard stories about the Indians doing rain dances and we always thought it sounded kind of silly? Well, it actually isn't. When you can tell that the weather, like for here today, the weather is showing that there is a good chance that it could possibly have storms today. So if you went out and you built a big fire, all these particulates from the fire, the ash and everything would rise up into the sky and definitely could have effects on the making it possibly rain. Again, different subject. This UFC ring is an octo ring, okay, the octagon, I think they call it. And you can see that it's got the monster logo in there. The octagon itself, or the cube, okay, because really what we're talking about is cube here. And because that's what the octagon represents. No, it's not square. It's showing you a three-dimensional version that's flat in a two-dimensional space, okay? That's what's going on there with that. And above this, the one that they're building actually says it has what's called a claw. And they keep saying it looks like a spaceship. I've heard it over and over now. They're saying it looks like a spaceship, but they're calling it the claw. And I know somehow this is tying to this alien invasion thing as well. And also the crypto.com is very appropriate as well. The crypto money, the dead money, crypto money. Now I know I probably just made about half of you mad talking about crypto or talking about Mr. T's UFC fight, acting like a bunch of Neanderthal idiots. Not that there were Neanderthals, but anyways, that's another subject too. Now, I created this image for you because it's a theory of how they're going to do this coming rollout. Okay. There's going to be this is theory. Okay. We're going to have this seemingly alien invasion, and everybody's going to be upset, and the governments are going to be acting like they're getting ready for war. They're going to fight the aliens and do all this kind of stuff. And then there'll come a day where there's a communication that says something like, "We come in peace to warn you. Together we can save your world." Okay. Collaboration is our only survival, because they're going to tell us something like an asteroid is coming down that's going to hit the earth, and it's going to cause a great calamity coming in at about 6 months. And you've got to have an outside threat to unite the whole world, and this is part of their plan. I don't know when they're going to pull this exactly, but for sure by 2030 it will be rolling out. And we ain't that far off of 2030 at all. So now let's go back to what we were talking about, which is related, because we're talking about alien sci-fi kind of stuff, where they're putting this information in alien sci-fi, meaning the Borg that comes from another place and is coming to assimilate everyone. But it's actually happening in a different way. It's our own aliens that are already here, basically, that are this a fair word to call them. These people that have no empathy, have no care about others. All they want is power and more power. And now they're going around, they're assimilating people, killing a lot of people, and clearly have a mission that they're going to try to pull off, an agenda coming soon with some kind of a emergency situation, emergency alert. Because as I told y'all guys, let me see if I've got it here by chance. Yeah. There's a new EA system being installed around the world right now. You remember when Mr. T, and y'all guys have heard me say this, put out that presidential alert, and then we never heard nothing else about it. It's related to this. Now, this is a whole lot less theory and more this is what it's related to. And they've got the tens of thousands of satellites in place around the world. It's all building this one beast system that is being put in place to control all of us. Now, let's get more specific here. How would they do this? Like getting something into the head. You've got to get across the blood-brain barrier, okay? All right, there's only one way to get across the blood-brain barrier without opening the head and going into the brain directly, okay? Like Elon's doing with Neuralink, okay? And as a matter of fact, Neuralink was what it was also called, that they were using for the cortical node. But I think it's actually worse than that, and much easier than going in and placing something into the head by drilling into the head itself. There is an open pathway right through the sinuses, and it is the only path directly into the brain that allows you to cross the blood-brain barrier, okay? Now, there are many. Here's an entire report. Matter of fact, this one specifically here, one of you guys sent to me. Thank you very much. And it goes into talking about and explaining how you can cross the blood-brain barrier right here. Okay. And the best way to do it is by using something up into the sinus area. Okay, the area we've been talking about, the area that's right there with the ethmoid bone that has the portals in it. It talks literally about even using those words in this article. Okay, I could just read it all, but I don't think I'm going to do that. What I will do is I'll put a link to this article below the video, okay, for you to go check out if you want to read it. But it's talking about the research progress on nasal delivery of siRNA nanocarrier systems for the treatment of neurodegenerative diseases. That's not what they're doing it for. It's not about diseases, okay? It's about the delivery of nanocarrier systems. Now, I just showed you that they're talking about going in through the sinuses. Well, actually, the sinuses, they're showing a spray. But actually, the better route to deliver this is to go in using a swab. Ignore the swab on the left. I don't know why it put that in there when I was putting this together. Just going up the sinuses, just like everybody had done back in, okay? And let me pull this one up here too. And it also, the research is out there and available to be able to administer actual microscopic transceivers into the brain, okay? And where they're trying to get is back up in here, which is the eye that is in the human brain, okay? There's a number of different names for it, but that's where they're trying to get. And it's traveling via the nerve itself, okay? There's a membrane on the nerve, and they've got these nano-sized little chips that they're using in order to put it into the head, okay? And the way they're doing it is, well, I'll read here what I've got. Using a specialized medical swab to physically brush or deposit a drug directly onto the olfactory mucosa is a highly viable and scientifically documented method in neural research. This technique is frequently referred to as direct mucosal painting or direct intranasal application. By bypassing the imprecision of liquid nasal sprays, a direct swab application addresses the structural, neurological, and physical realities of the nose-to-brain pathway. Direct access. Standard nasal sprays and mist are poorly designed for brain delivery because up to 95% of the liquid deposits onto the lower respiratory mucosa and septum, meaning it deposits most of it, it misses its target. This leads to systematic absorption into the blood rather than target delivery to the brain. Overcoming the anatomy, the olfactory region, meaning the area right on the deck of the ethmoid bone. Okay, the deck I showed you with the ports in it, which I think I have it up here again, which I have a lot of things up here, but I thought I had it up here. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Well, let's just read it. Most of you have seen, I've showed you the ethmoid bone many times. You can go back to previous videos and all the information is there. The olfactory region is tucked away in the very roof of the nasal cavity. A flexible, specialized, long-reach swab allows researchers and medical physicians to bypass the narrow nasal turbinates. Bullseye deposition. The swab can physically reach the olfactory cleft and rub the formulation directly onto the olfactory epithelium, the mucosal tissue layer sitting directly beneath the cybriform plate and the olfactory bulb. Those are things that sit directly against the ethmoid bone and the deck of the ship, basically. Okay, you should know what I'm talking about if you've watched my channel much at all. Interaction with nerve fibers. The nerves you're referring to are the fila olfactoria, the bundles of unmelanated axons projecting down, meaning nerves from the olfactory bulb through the bone pores. Those are the pores or the ports that are in the deck of the ethmoid bone. Rubbing a drug-loaded swab here leverages specific transport dynamics. This is all, I'm not making this stuff up. You can see it's all notated as to where it came from, okay? The neural channel, the swab coats the exact tissue where these nerve fibers exit. The particles or therapeutics do not necessarily need to enter the inside of the nerve cell. Instead, they quickly slip into the perineural space, the microscopic fluid-filled sheath wrapped around the outside of the nerves. They travel along these channels right through the skull bone within minutes, maximizing concentration. Physically pressing a swab against this zone yields a drastically higher local concentration of the material, whatever's in that material, than a droplet from a spray can achieve. So that's why they used the swab. That is why they used the swab. You know, something kind of like this. And a lot of them look more like cotton, which they used also. I just picked that image out of the blue, really. And what it is it's not cotton. It's a manufactured hollow, kind of like a needle itself. It's hollow and has the liquid and all of the things that they want to get rubbed around on the olfactory nerve areas. They want They want all those little fibers have all that stuff in it. When you rub it around up there, it's going to come out. That's why when they put it up there, everybody's instructed to rub it around. That delivers the drug, which it ain't a drug. I'm showing you basically what it is. It's the assimilation hardware is what it is. The assimilation serum, the Borg serum, basically. But it's not, I mean, they're the ones that came out with their own logo. Okay. I didn't come up with this stuff. The Operation Warp Speed logo, it depicts it for you. Now, only directly related, slightly different subject. Let's go back and talk about magnetite. Okay. Widely researched for millimeter wave, 5G, and radar antennas because magnetite, which is a crystal, okay, because of its magnetic and dielectric properties, allow for mentorization, wide bandwidth, and targeted absorption. When embedded in polymer like PDMS or geopolymer substrates, magnetite acts as a magnetic microwave absorber and tunable substrate to reduce reflection and improve gain. Okay. It's about improving the antenna. And I believe that they're putting something like this definitely up into the forehead. It's not just one thing they're putting up there. Okay, guys? It's not just one thing. It's a lot of things. And then it's connecting to this Internet of Things. The 5G millimeter 24 gigahertz signal that just happened to come out of nowhere that I explained to y'all guys. I know the frequency, and it's the 5G frequency. That's why they're pushing this thing so hard. And in probably my next video, I'm going to go further into the crystal, the magnetite crystal thing again, and go through and explain more of the details of how that works and how it works in nature, because this is how they get the technology, is by studying nature, or you could say studying the tree of knowledge of good and evil, because all these technologies can be used for good or evil. Okay. So I'll be going more into that. And again, that's related imagery. And there was, this is the ethmoid bone that I've shown. And these are the ports that I'm referring to that the olfactory nerves hang down through right here. The olfactory bulb sits right on the deck of this boat here that's in your forehead. Okay. And then the crista galli up here is the area that has the iron, a type of iron in it, along with some crystalline material. Okay. And they're trying to connect all of this. And personally, I believe this area of the brain that sits right up here, the olfactory bulb, and all the brain that sits right above it, is literally the place that gives our connection with our Father in heaven. What they're trying to do is break that connection and make you part of the hive, you might say. Okay? Make you part of the hive. I want to thank y'all guys again, and I'll have my list updated again here in a day or so, but thank you, Gary B., Anthony E., Linda B., Robin W., Sandra R., Brandy E., and Julie M. And I think I got one, maybe additional one to add to it. But I thank you very much for your support. Looking forward to having y'all guys, hopefully all as producers, just like Brandy E. is a new producer for us. And when you are a producer, you get credited as being part of why this work is able to be done. And the reason is because of the support of people like this.
I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.